As exclusive buying reason number 2, we nominate the 7-bearing crankshaft of the Nash Ambassador 6. This feature, too, is standard on the Rolls-Royce. Every American 6 but Nash has either 3 or 4 main bearings. The Pontiac and Oldsmobile 8s have 5, and Mercury, a V-type 8, has 3. What do 7 bearings mean? Well, in any engine, the connecting rods thrust down on the crankshaft with the force of the explosions in one cylinder after another. The bearings keep the crankshaft from flexing under that load, and the better they do that job, the longer your engine will run smoothly and without repair costs. With 7 main bearings, there's a bearing on each side of every connecting rod to brace the crankshaft and keep it from flexing. However, if less than 7 bearings are used, there must be at least 2 connecting rods between every pair of bearings. Arranging the connecting rods and bearings that way is like bracing a plank in this fashion. The plank will sag under the weight of the 2 painters, and the load on each ladder will be considerable. However, if the plank is supported on each side of each painter, it will sag far less, and there will be less load on each ladder. In the same way, a support on each side of each connecting rod, as in the Nash AeroPower engine, keeps the crankshaft more rigid, lightens the load on each bearing, and makes the engine smoother running and longer lasting. Or, to figure from another angle, Nash has from 19 to 63% more main bearing area than any other car in its price class. And the more bearing area to support the load, the less load there is at any given point. This ample bearing area is one of the reasons a Nash is sweeter running and continues to retain that new car feel even after thousands of miles of service. And remember, you cannot get a 7-bearing crankshaft in any other American car at any price.
Sealed-in manifolding is another Nash exclusive which rates top importance. In any engine, there has to be some way of getting gasoline vapor from the carburetor into the cylinder where it will be burned. The pipeline affair that does the job is called the inlet manifold. In every competitive car, the inlet manifold is hung on the outside of the engine block. But in the Nash AeroPower engine, this manifold is a passage cast inside the cylinder head. And because it's placed where it is, you will get more efficient operation and save money. As you know, gasoline is turned into a vapor in the carburetor. But to burn well, it must still be a vapor when the manifold delivers it at the cylinder. Obviously, in cold weather, blasts of cold air will hit an exposed manifold and cool it. And you know what happens when gasoline vapor, or any vapor, hits a relatively cool surface. It condenses back into a liquid, just as the steam from a tea kettle condenses when it hits a cold window pane. Therefore, with the average car, winter months bring need for a richer gasoline mixture to make up for the fuel wasted by condensation. And since modern carburetors have no main jet adjustment, you drive all summer with an extra rich mixture. Most manufacturers heat the central portion of the inlet manifold by sending hot exhaust gases around it. However, the ends of the manifold may still be relatively cool, and gasoline vapor may still be condensing there, since even a piece of metal held over a flame can remain quite cool at the extreme ends, even though it gets hot at the center. To follow out the comparison, putting the metal in a pail of hot water would be the surest way to get uniform temperature everywhere along its length. That is the way the Nash engine keeps its fuel mixture at a uniformly efficient temperature. The inlet manifold is heated from end to end by the hot water of the engine cooling system. Since the temperature of the water is controlled by a thermostat, the proper fuel mixture temperature can be maintained winter and summer. Since there's no need for a richer and more expensive winter mixture, the Nash carburetor is always adjusted for economy and efficiency. You save money all year. Remember, you cannot get sealed-in manifolding on any other car at any price.
Now, in talking about the next big reason for buying a Nash, its unitized body construction, we'd like to suggest one simple test that you yourself can make. Glance under the hood of a Nash Ambassador 6. Look at those big girders that come down to join the frame way up by the engine. Notice how they make body and frame a structural whole, tied together for greater strength. There is similar construction in bridges. Massive truss members which tie the upper and lower parts of the bridge together into one self-bracing unit. However, in the automotive field, construction like this is offered only by Nash and the Lincoln Zephyr, which costs some $500 more. Only in these cars are passengers protected by heavy structural members extending over, under, and around the passenger compartment in a self-bracing network of steel. And to gain still greater safety, the box girders in the door and window posts are stronger than usual, as well as narrower. That gives you a wider field of vision from the driver's seat. The final advantage of the fortress-strong body which only Nash offers in this price class.
Next, we suggest the Nash Weather Eye as the fifth of the exclusive features which are basic reasons for buying a Nash Ambassador 6. Let's see why the Weather Eye is important. First, you want plenty of fresh air brought into your car without drafts from which to catch cold. You need fresh air for comfort, and you need it for safety. Since the invisible killer, carbon monoxide, may be your traveling companion on any winter trip in a poorly ventilated car. But you're safe in a Nash, as fresh filtered air pours into the car through the cowl ventilator and the wide direct passages of the Weather Eye. Indeed, there's enough fresh air brought into the car with the windows closed so that air pressure within the passenger compartment is slightly greater than outside. Stale air and tobacco fumes are forced out, and carbon monoxide has no chance to leak in. Then there's a second requirement: adequate heating of that air. And the 1941 Weather Eye has the largest automotive heating core ever built as a standard production model for passenger cars. Third, there should be continuous automatic control of the heating unit so that comfort is constant even with changing seasons or car speeds. In a Nash, you just select the degree of warmth which means comfort for you, and a thermostat automatically maintains that temperature within the car. Moreover, the Nash system prevents steaming up of the windows, and it permits driving on dusty roads or in rainstorms with all windows closed.
All these advantages are important, and we've seen that the Nash Weather Eye delivers them. But what have competitive cars to offer, since most everybody has tried to develop something like the Nash conditioned air system? Well, in the course of 5 or 6 years of experiment, we've learned that a long, comparatively narrow tube, like this Pontiac arrangement or like the Mercury, just won't deliver as much fresh air as the short, wide ducts of the Nash conditioned air system. A twisting air passage, such as in the Dodge system, also cuts down the flow of fresh air. And the passages of the Studebaker climatizer are both long and winding. As for heating power, none of the competitive units has the reserve heating capacity of the 1941 Weather Eye, with the largest standard production heating core on the market. Then, too, there's no automatic heat control on Pontiac or Studebaker systems. The costly Dodge system also uses manual hot water control, while Mercury provides only a blower speed control. As for Oldsmobile, its heat control bears a very striking resemblance to the type Nash used back in 1939, as is the case with the entire unit. In a word, the improved Nash conditioned air system is still the only one which meets all your requirements for safety and comfort. Remember, you can get the Weather Eye in no other car but Nash.
Now, the exclusive features we've mentioned so far are mighty good reasons for anybody to buy the Nash Ambassador 6, the only car which offers them. But in addition, the Nash Sedan Sleeper, a big double bed in a car, will be just as compelling a buying reason for sportsmen, for hunters and fishermen, for anybody who loves the rustle of pines or the murmur of a cool lake. Doctors, too, will welcome a passenger car which can be turned into an ambulance. For in 3 minutes, the Nash can be transformed into an ample bed.
Another optional Nash feature, the 4th speed forward with automatic overtake, brings increased economy and performance on the open road. At speeds above 32 miles per hour, just lifting your foot off the accelerator automatically shifts the car into 4th speed. From then on, engine speed is reduced 30%. That is, when the car speed is 60 miles per hour, the engine speed is an effortless 42 miles per hour. And because the engine is doing less work, gasoline consumption is reduced 15 to 25%. Oil mileage is increased 50%, and engine wear is reduced at least 50%. But these economies tell only part of the story. There's new high-speed performance as you flash around slower traffic. That's due to the automatic overtake, which shifts back into the powerful third gear when you press the accelerator all the way down. And of the most popular competitive cars, neither Dodge nor Pontiac have an overdrive of any kind. Oldsmobile offers what it calls hydromatic drive. It embodies some of the advantages of a fourth-speed forward, plus automatic shifting, and automatic shifting is a convenience. However, it's also true that the hydromatic drive is a pretty complicated mechanism, embodying more than 15 gears. Because it's complicated, it's naturally expensive, costing about $90. Yet the Oldsmobile fourth speed is really more like a third and a half speed. It should be considerably less economical than the higher gear ratio used by Nash in its fourth-speed forward. For instance, to go a mile in fourth speed, the engine of an Oldsmobile Dynamic must make 2,660 revolutions. In the same distance, a Nash engine in fourth speed turns over just 2,340 times. Naturally, the Nash engine will save more gas, will last longer. In fact, the low first cost of the Nash fourth-speed forward can be a true investment, more than paid for by the operating economies it achieves. On the other hand, the higher-priced Olds hydromatic drive really does only a halfway job in the reduction of engine speed.
Now, when it comes to judging appearance, there can be many opinions. So instead of trying to tell you what's good-looking about Nash, we'll just explain some of the effects we were trying for when we designed it. Then you can decide for yourself. First of all, we thought you'd like a car that's distinctively a Nash and not one of 3 or 4 other cars. As it turns out, there's more than a little of the peas-in-a-pod look about some of the other cars in this price class. We also tried to get eye appeal with smooth flowing lines, with skillful treatment of highlights. We'd rather get distinction that way than by use of too much chromium trim. In fact, in designing the catwalk grills, we deliberately took some of the glitter out of them by alternating rich satin chrome aluminum with the bright chromium. Chrome plate catches the eye at first glance, but you're going to be looking at your car for some time. Of course, some very able designers decided that yards of chromium was exactly what you want. Only you can decide who made the best try at meeting your preferences. However, we're sure you prefer to have a choice between the slipstream rear end and the body with a trunk. You have that choice in a Nash. But Dodge and Mercury offer you only slipstream models. And in the opposite camp, Hudson and Studebaker build nothing but trunk sedans. But after all, it's more enjoyable to look at beauty than to hear about it. So we suggest that another look at the Ambassador 6s on the sales floor will reveal all the restrained, lasting beauty of fine car styling.
And then we suggest that you get behind the wheel of this Ambassador 6 if you've not already done so. Learn from your salesman about the many features we haven't even touched on in this film. The independent front wheel suspension, the draftless ventilation with crank-type windows. Find out what Sand Mortex insulation and spool-type body mountings mean to Nash owners. Have your salesman demonstrate the new rotary door latches, the coincidental ignition lock and light, the clutch pedal starter. Ask about complete full-pressure lubrication, the oil filter, which is standard equipment, sealed cooling plus cross-flow radiator. Check back over the definitely fine car advantages that only the Ambassador 6 gives you. For performance with economy, Aero Power. For longer engine life, 7 main bearings. For year-round economy and uniform performance, sealed-in manifolding. All of them features you can't buy in any other American car. Then, for safety, there's the new, stronger Unitized body. And for more safety, there's sure, velvety stopping with the largest brakes in the entire price class. For comfort, there's the custom-made climate of the Weather Eye. Comfort found only in Nash. The car with the smooth, effortless cruising and the quick-stepping acceleration of the fourth-speed forward with automatic overtake. The car in which a soft bed awaits you at the end of a day of pleasure-packed driving. This, then, is the Nash Anniversary 6, the 25th of its line. A truly fine car now available in a lower price field. It's the standout buy of 41, the car which gives dollar-saving meaning to the greatest value in America today.